This is going to be a review on how to use the multicam editing technique in Adobe Premiere Pro. So in this case, we're setting up kind of a music video, and this is just a practice one. But what we've got is we've got the song that we've selected, and we've got three kind of performance clips or lip syncing that all used this same soundtrack when it was being recorded. So we're going to start actually with the soundtrack itself. And the way that this soundtrack was set up is that we edited in these three kind of solid tones and then a high pitch tone. And it just helps us kind of with the syncing. So if you listen, it sounds something like this. And then it goes into our song. So what we're going to do is we're going to use that fourth tone there, the high pitch one, right at the start, right there. And we're going to put a marker in place by pressing M. So we now have a marker there. Now we can go to our clips. So when we go to our clips here, if you listen in the background, you're going to be able to hear that pitch. Now it's not super loud in this case, but you can still hear it. Right there. Now, if you're having trouble hearing it, sometimes you can actually use a visual cue. And if you hit the little wrench here and you change it to audio waveform, you can see the actual audio track. And it's very, very quiet in this case, but you can actually see the high-pitched tone right there. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to press mark, or I'm going to press M to get a marker there as well. And I'll take it back to video mode. Now, for the other two performances, I've already done this. So I've got it right here. There's that high-pitched tone, and I've got it right here. There's that high-pitched tone. So in theory, because we use the same track when recording, if we line up all of those marker points, they're all going to be lined up nicely. So let's make a new sequence here. And we filmed this with AVC HD 1080p, 1080p 24, and I'm actually going to give this a name, and this is going to be called Synced Clips. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to take my very first clip and let's do an in and out point right around that marker there and just drag it in to video 1. There we go. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag in my second clip. So I'm going to take that in, and you'll know that you've done this right if those little markers are showing up. And you can see I can actually line them up perfectly. If they're not lining up really nicely, just hit the magnet right here. It's called the snapping tool. So that's going to line up. Now I'm going to take my third one. And once again, I can just take those clips right there and line them up. Now, I don't need any of this stuff before the markers. So I'll just kind of clean that up like that. And the theory is now all three of these clips should be playing the soundtrack more or less the same, maybe within a frame or two, but should be good enough. All right, so those are my synced clips. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use the idea of nested sequences, so putting one sequence inside of another. So I need to make a second sequence. So I'm going to make a new sequence, and I'm going to call this Music Video Edit. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this synced clips sequence and drag it into Music Video Edit. So I'm not copying and pasting all this stuff. Don't do that. In fact, I just go over here to my project, take my synced clips, and drag it in. Oh, now if that's happening right there, you don't want that. You want one single green clip. This one right here, insert and overwrite sections or sequences, just turn that on. And that's what you should get right there. So now we get this green bar, which is the synced clip. So it's all 6 of these tracks, but now they're all kind of in one. And the one thing I missed, though, was that I actually have to give a marker to the sequence. And you'll see there's no marker on this sequence right now, and that's because I need to mark it up here. So all you have to do, go to where all of these markers are synced up, right there. Make sure no clip is selected and press M to make a marker. And there we go. So now I've got a marker up here in this synced clip sequence, which means over here, there it is. Beautiful. Okay. So now I can take my music video track, which we already added the marker in there, drag that in. And if I line up those clips right there, or those markers, the original audio, which is this muffled one behind the camera, and my real one should actually play really nicely. We can test that.
Now it's time for...
And that's looking pretty good. I mean, I can't see the lip syncing yet, but you'll see in a second how it's going to work. All right. I don't even need this original track, the original audio track. So I'm just going to mute that right there. Now, here's the key. Right now, this is just, it's only showing me the top clip from my sync clips, right, in video 3. I need to enable multicam mode. So I'm going to right click this clip. I'm going to go to multi-camera and I'm going to enable it. So now it switches, it looks a little different, and it says this is MC1 or multicam 1. I could actually change that by going multi-camera 2, multi-camera 3, like that. And you can do this with as many as you want. I mean, after about 6 or 7 clips, it might start getting a little laggy, but for now, I think this is going to work really well. The next step we want to do is we want to convert this mode here. This is just our regular old editing mode. And we hit the little wrench. Let's switch it to multi-camera. And when you go multi-camera, you now see a real-time preview of what each of those clips looks like. So I can see as I play this.
Let's give it everything we've got. Ready? Begin.
Artificial amateurs on it all amazing. Analytically, I assault.
And I can see already they're all lined up really nicely. So now here's the power of multicam editing. When I press play, every time I press or I click on a different clip over here, it will automatically put that as a cut. So I'm going to kind of just play it out. I'm going to do the whole, I don't know, call it 40 seconds or whatever. I'm going to do that whole thing, and I'm just going to kind of click around. You know, when I think a certain clip is going to be good, I'm going to click on there. Maybe I'll try to click it to the beat a couple times, and you'll see when it's all done, it's going to take all those clicks and convert them into cuts. So here we go.
Now it's time for our wrap-up. Let's give it everything we've got. Ready? Begin.
Artificial amateurs on it all amazing. Analytically, I assault, animate things. Broken barriers bounded by the bomb beat. Buildings are broken, basically I'm bombarding. Casually create catastrophes, casualties, canceling cats got the canopies collapsing. Detonate a diamond tank, daily doing dope. Demonstrations, Don Dada on the down low. Eating other editors with each and every energetic, epileptic episode, elevated etiquette. Furious, fat, fabulous, fantastic.
Okay. And then I hit stop, and you can see I've got cuts here. So those cuts are representative of every time that I clicked. And I can even go back here, and if I decide, oh, you know what, this MC1 should have been MC2 or MC3, it changes right down there. So it's a very quick way to edit. So now I've got a clip that looks like this.
Now it's time for...
Sorry, I'll switch it back to composite mode.
Now it's time for our wrap-up. Let's give it everything we've got. Ready? Begin.
Artificial amateurs on it all amazing. Analytically, I assault, animate things. Broken barriers bounded by the bomb beat. Buildings are broken, basically I'm bombarding. Casually create catastrophes, casualties, canceling cats got the canopies collapsing. Detonate a diamond tank, daily doing dope. Demonstrations, Don Dada on the down low. Eating other editors with each and every energetic, epileptic episode.
Okay, so at that point, I've actually got a kind of a rough cut here. Now I'm going to have to fine tune it or whatever. I noticed this clip right here goes blank, so maybe I'd switch that back to, you know, this one over here, and then I could finish off here or whatever. But from here, you can now start layering other things. So for example, if you want to get a little bit of your B-roll in here, let's have this one right here. Let's have someone kind of beating their head to the music, and I can drag that in up here. Oh, the other thing I might do, I'm going to lock my soundtrack here. By locking it, I'm not going to overwrite it at all. So I can drag this guy in and put him right there. And, you know, what else do we have? We've got these guys here. Let's just kind of give that, put that right there. Got some sort of weird deal for a pencil going on here. Kind of give that to him, put that maybe over here. And I think we've got a cutaway of that as well. And I would take more time to actually time this out nicely, but for now, it's just kind of something to have some filler in there. Shorten that a bit. I think that's all the B-roll that I had in there. Should be enough. Maybe I'll get a little more of this guy just sitting on the bench here. And let's have a look at that now. So when I play this out, let's go to composite video.
Now it's time for our wrap-up. Let's give it everything we've got. Ready? Begin.
Artificial amateurs aren't it all amazing? Analytically, I assault, animate things. Broken barriers bounded by the bomb beat. Buildings are broken, basically I'm bombarding. Casually create catastrophes, casualties, canceling cats got, they can't.
And I mean, from here, it's just where you get creative, right? You start layering in all your stories, you layer in any of your B-roll. Eventually, you're going to start doing your color correction and add-ons. So, for example, I always do this. You know, I could make a new layer and do an adjustment layer here. Let's create an adjustment layer. And adjustment layers, of course, anything you do to this adjustment layer, it'll do to everything underneath. So, you know, let's say, for example, I add a crop onto this. So I'll add a crop onto my adjustment layer. And when I go to my effect controls, crop that down maybe 10% from the top. And I'll do 10 from the bottom. So now I have kind of a fake widescreen look. Maybe I like that. You know, I could add, if I do some color on this, generally speaking, you don't want to do just one color correction on the entire clip. But, you know, maybe at the very end you could do that. Usually you want to individually color correct, but for now, for just sake of time, I'll let's bump down that. Maybe lower the blacks a little bit. Pump up the exposure. You know, so you can adjust that kind of stuff. Try to get kind of a neat effect to it. Maybe I want to add, I don't know, a little more of a color tint to it. There's so many ways to do color corrections. Really, whatever you're wanting to get out of it, right? I could go over to my reds, pump those up a little bit till I get that look that I want. So already, you know, there's kind of before and then there's after, kind of a cool look. And once again, if you're not sick of this song already, oh, sorry, one other thing I need to do. I'm still getting those beeps in there. Obviously, I don't need those anymore. So I'm going to get rid of those beeps. They go to about there. Just need to unlock that. And then just to push everything in, I'll ripple delete that, lock that back up, and this is now kind of where I'm at for a video.
Now it's time for our wrap-up. Let's give it everything we've got. Ready? Begin.
Artificial amateurs aren't it all amazing? Analytically, I assault, animate things. Broken barriers bounded by the bomb beat. Buildings are broken, basically I'm bombarding. Casually create catastrophes, casualties, canceling cats got the canopies collapsing. Detonate a diamond tank daily doing dope. Demonstrations, Don Dada on the down low. Eating other editors with each and every energetic, epileptic episode, elevated etiquette. Furious, fat, fabulous, fantastic. Flurries of funk.
Okay, so that's the technical side of how you do it. From here, what's truly going to make a great music video is your creativity, right? So from here, get all that stuff laid out, get it all done so you have a nice multicam, and then just start adding those fine little edits and all that creativity to get a really cool result. Good luck.